Wamen recording.
Hey, I am Purple Paw Prince, and I'm here with Aussie, Shanry, and Empress, and we have special guests tonight, Banana Grabber and Peepaw Riveter from Clear as Mud Podcast. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Hello.
No, I was talking to everyone. We were sort of planning which guests we wanted on and how we were going to do everything. And I was like, we have to have Riveter and Banana on. Well, specifically more Riveter, but Banana has to come along too if we're going to have Riveter. But for shouting us out when we were just in our Twitter space era. So we were very excited about that.
Oh, absolutely. We're a package deal. Anywhere Riveter goes, I go too. I appreciate it.
That's good.
If I don't manage his online presence, what will we do?
So wait, does that mean that like everywhere that like you go, Riveter goes with you, or nah?
No. I'm his handler.
No.
Yes. I'm his business manager, his handler, his confidant, his life partner, if you will. We're making plans for the future. Stay tuned.
So when's the wedding? Can I be the best man? Actually, no, I don't want to be the best man. I want to be like the officiant. I can't.
Yeah. You can be the ring bearer.
I like that.
You put a
I
pillow
look
on
good
your
in a
back
suit.
ring. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like the old. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Shanry. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say that I'm the only one who haven't listened to the mod podcast. I'm very sorry about it. I do know Banana Grabber from Unhinged, basically, and you from your own show, and as well from David, Dead on Dave. You know, your producer to him. That's all I know about it. But when I heard about the mod podcast, I was like, wait a minute, they are buffing in mod. That's good. I mean, for us here in Sweden, we use it as a fall as well.
The premise of the show is River and I get naked and we get in a kiddie pool full of mud and wrestle until one of us taps out. And also, Riveter does produce for Dead on David, which I'm a huge fan of. I love Dead on David very much.
So this is gonna sound really sad, but I've heard of Riveter because I do watch Dead on Dave a lot. But Banana, the only reason why I know you is because Rylan speaks highly of you, and Rylan is the my other co-host for the other podcast, and he keeps telling me, he's like, we need to have Banana on at some point. And I was like, yes, get him on, and then nothing happens.
Well, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rylan. Ever since I saw Rylan join SFTP, I said that guy is like the funniest person I've ever met in the world. I'm a big fan of Rylan's. I love the show Firestarters. It's my favorite podcast in YouTube. It's the fastest growing podcast on YouTube. I want to be a guest on the show. I bullied my way into Rylan's DMs and said I demanded that he put me on your show, regardless of anyone protesting. I will be there. Absolutely.
I'm not protesting. I'm like, okay. Just
do you know what Rylan's side gig is, or his main gig?
Oh yeah. He talks about it to me all the time, and I keep asking him to like show me the looks and stuff, and he's like, maybe when I feel better about it. It's like, no, show them to me now.
I have plans to go to Australia, and when I do, I'm going to go see a drag show, and I better see Liberty, and I better get an autograph. Otherwise, I'm going to be very upset. So,
he is going on tour for 2 weeks in March, so I mean...
Interesting. Maybe I could be his manager. I could wrestle my way in there.
He told me that you wanted to be... So for those of you that don't know, Rylan does drag. That is his main thing. He makes wigs and stuff for drag, and he's also wanting to get back into drag. So that's why I love him.
And he claims he's not homosexual, but I've seen him text on cam. And
he has a girlfriend.
Hold on. I've seen him text, and his pinky's out, and his hands doing a little trill thing that looks just a little too effeminate for a man who's down with the P. I don't know. I'm just saying, like. Something about that screams at least bi. He is bi. Oh, okay, well there you go. I don't know why he insisted so many times he's not gay. He's 100% gay and also straight. You know, he's both. He's a half breed. It's okay. He's a mudblood. It's fine.
Not to surprise you, but I am pansexual as well. Yes, you know.
What is that? I've heard people say pansexual. I'm like, What is pansexual? And I know the obvious joke, like haha, pots and pans, you're attracted to kitchenware. But besides the Pioneer Woman, what does that entail? Like
basically what they are saying, because there is always a fight about pansexual and bisexuals, because bisexuals is only attracted to men and women, while pansexual is attracted to basically men and women and trans people.
That is not
They
true,
don't
though.
include
Bi people can be attracted to trans people.
Yeah, I
then
know.
they would
Bi
therefore
people,
be
bi people
trans.
tend to have more of a preference.
Yeah,
And
They're
they
more
like to-
exclusionary, and that's wrong, and we hate that.
Mm.
Yeah, they're frankly
Exactly.
bigots for being bisexual.
Well,
They should
okay,
be
okay.
pansexual.
Mm.
Okay, to explain it in a good way, bisexuality is basically just like this giant umbrella, and that's like we're like pansexuality, omnisexual, and any other sexuality that's just like, I just want to fuck everybody. Leave me
Hold
alone.
on.
That's kind of where it kind of all
Yeah, or
it
gender
goes
blind.
under the
what I say.
umbrella. Some people prefer to be known as like bisexual, like myself. I prefer just using bisexual. People like Chanri prefer to be known as pan, and that's okay. We love that for us. Here at Wamen Recording, we are accepting.
What is omnisexual? Is that like the Omnitrix from Transformers? Is it like the Allspark or something?
I think that's just literally anyone. I don't
Wait, the
know.
Omnitrix
I
spin 10. What am I talking about?
don't-
You like select your preference through the watch. So the omnisexuals have a fucking wristwatch that's intergalactic, and they go, okay, today. Which
maybe I should be omnisexual then. I want an intergalactic space watch. What about you girls?
I'm a straight girl.
I mean, when you're saying that with your wife with Hannah Animal,
That's all for the memes, okay? It's all for the memes.
are you sure about that?
I am very sure, Chanry. I am very comfortable in my own sexuality that I can joke about being in another different sexuality.
Yeah, I like the ambiguity. That's my favorite thing. My favorite thing in the world is I can just lie infinitely online and there's no repercussions. So I don't like I can say one thing one day and then contradict myself the next, and no one will ever know what I'm really up to. It's a great game to play. Never let people know what you're about ever. It's fun to live in ambiguity. I don't know. That's my personal motto. Except for the fact that I do want to fight Ryan. I do want to give him CT and I do want to make him bleed. I have such a passionate anger for that man. I don't know why. It's something about the effeminate nature of his just build. It bothers me.
So, Parking Tigers, if you ever see this, don't be such a coward. Fight Banana Grabber. Grow up.
I think he should.
He's not going to grab your banana or anything. Actually, he might. You never know. But
I don't know.
But
if it happens, it happens. I won't complain, but I will hurt him. That's for sure. That will happen.
What about you, Riveter? Do you want to box anybody in the community?
Oh no, darling. I'm way too old for that mess. Even when I was Banana's age, I was not a fighter. I was always a lover. So
I just have a lot of anger. I need to get my anger out. Otherwise, I will hurt somebody innocent, you know?
Banana Bud, you got way more than just anger issues, but
he's not wrong.
Shots fired. Okay.
So I have a bit of a question for both Riveter and Banana, and they can answer in their own turn. I'm going to start with Riveter because he hasn't had a chance to talk yet. So what got you into YouTube? What got you onto streaming and in the commentary specifically?
Lord. All right. So like most Gen Xers, YouTube was just a place where I went to watch my beloved hair metal bands from the 80s. That's what I thought it was for. And in and around 2000, and I'm going to say somewhere in 2015, early 2016, somewhere in there, a video came up on my feed. And it's a little bit fuzzy for me. I don't remember if it was a drama alert with Keemstar, or it was either that or it was a Colossal's crazy trolling video. Colossal used to do these trolls. He would go into games, whatever, had voice chat, whatever, and he would troll the people because Colossal has this very unique voice, right? He sounded like a very old aristocratic British man, and he would just troll people, and he was very entertaining. And from that, a whole new world opened to me on YouTube, and that's where I kind of started learning about people actually making content that wasn't music videos. And so I watched, that's where I discovered people like iDubbbz and Tommy C. Of course, Keemstar, like I've already mentioned. Leafy is here, Grade A Under A, Pyrocynical, No Fuckers, people like that. And I started watching these guys, and some of them I was like, I could do that. This is not hard. And what prompted me actually to make my very first video was this was a time when there was some drama online going on between Leafy is here, Mr. Black Darkness 666, and Tommy NC 2010. There was also some drama going on between Keemstar and Basherverse, who passed away not too long ago, sadly. But anyway, I just felt like these guys, Mr. Black Darkness 666, Basherverse, and Tommy NC 2010, were all kind of being just babies about stuff. And so I made a commentary video of them, basically called them all a bunch of pussies. And of course,
here we are.
Yeah, here we are today. And so, but I've been making videos on YouTube off and on since about, I think, 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
But I've not had a lot of success, I guess, really until recently, because for whatever reason, now all of a sudden people find me adorable. I don't know. So
you are adorable.
You're everyone's online grandpa. You're everyone's online grandpa.
You're like adorable in an old person way.
He's the best part of waking up.
The same, I would say that too, but
yeah.
But I would say that too, but sorry.
I would just want to say this in closing. One of your guys' co-host has become a huge asset to me and my show, and even helping me produce things for Dead on Dave, and that is the one Purple Paw Prince. She has come in, and it's like every morning when I get up and I sit down at my computer with my cup of coffee to get ready to do a show, she has just got a slew of things to talk about that day. And she has, because all this stuff happens at night when this old man's asleep. And so for me to be able to come in and recap it is just, for her to have it, and she's just phenomenal. She won't let me buy her a cup of coffee. She won't let me do anything for her, which I think is kind of selfish on her part, really. She's not letting me do anything.
She have no
for
saying
her.
anymore.
Yeah.
This time she have no saying on this. She had to
Oh,
accept
yeah,
it. Even
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she's a sweetheart, and she is has just been a godsend to me, and I really do appreciate her. So.
Oh, well, that's why I kind of hired her because of just how much of a spy she is. She's everywhere. She sees everything. And
wait, she's getting paid?
No.
No.
No. No one's getting paid.
No. I'm a curious cat. So I've always been kind of nosy just for my own curiosity. So I'm always looking, and I find stuff. I see stuff.
Yes, she always brings me up in bits and tidbits, and I'm like, "Thank you, Paw Prince. Let me marry you."
I don't ever just come out and like spread stuff. But if someone comes to me and ask about something, more than likely I know something about it, or I've heard something about it, or I'll point you in the direction to find out more.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So now, what about you, Banana? What got you into content creation?
I was a big fan of PewDiePie. I played video games all the time in high school. I watched PewDiePie, the Amnesia series, all that stuff. And so I finally decided to build a PC. And on my Banana Grabber channel, I made a shit ton of Let's Play videos that were horrible. They were so bad and cringy. And eventually, somebody came. I think his name was Expired Milky. What? Anyway, somebody from the commentary community came, talked to me about video editing, talked to me about thumbnails, told me like, "Oh, this is what you need to do to like be more successful." He's like, "I really like your channel and stuff like that." And then he started talking about commentary. And I was like, okay, what's commentary? He's like, you never heard Colossal's Crazy? I'm a big fan of them. I'm like, no. And so he started showing me Colossal's Crazy, Baited Podcast, Tommy C, all that stuff. And then I found my way over to SFTP, right? And so I've been hanging out in the SFTP server for God knows how fucking long now. Oops, sorry. About like 5 or 7 years. And eventually I was like, fuck it, I'll make a podcast. Cause I've always loved radio. Like radio has always been my favorite thing in the fucking world. I used to listen to Don Imus and fucking Howard Stern, shit like that. I'd turn on like AM radio stations just to hear some fucking crazy person rant about, like the government or something. Just like late night radio was my favorite thing because it's always like theater of the mind was always amazing to me. Like what you could do with just audio, like just where you could create like a little world for somebody to come into. And like so I don't know how many of y'all are from the US, but there was this thing called Odyssey. If you're in the South, there's this it's this Christian radio like stories. Yeah. And that was another thing when I was really little I used to listen to. And it was the production behind it allowed you to like use your imagination and like while they were doing these little stories, little weekly stories, you could like travel in your mind and be like and create the world that, through the blanks that they leave out. Right. So I've always loved radio and I wanted to start a podcast and I just put a tweet out that's like, who wants to do a podcast? Anyone? I'm like, I want people who are like serious about it to like, and people hit me up and he's like, yeah, I'll do it with you. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's get started. And we created the Clear as Mud podcast. And now that's where it all started.
No, I know JFA, who I'm a very, very good friends with. He's a massive fan of Clear as Mud.
I love JFA. That's we love JFA and Nanny Faye for all the donations that they put into the absolute great guy. I don't know, he just kind of popped up in SFTP and he's like a really funny dude. But he doesn't do any as far as I know, he doesn't do any content. I think he's just like a normal guy that likes radio, and he goes listens to these podcasts.
He doesn't even have a Twitter. He doesn't have any other social media. He literally only has Discord and YouTube, and that's how he talks to everyone. And just does his stuff.
Gets it. He's funny.
Yeah,
He's always fun, basically.
No, that's a guy that gets the game. Like he gets like how to be funny, how to not be involved in a way that's inappropriate and become part of the content mill. Like he's just there and he's just a funny guy. Yeah, I love JFA.
Yeah, if you guys excuse me, I am very quiet today. I'm very quiet today because I still have a cold basically, and I'm just waiting for the live stream coming up, so I'm gonna have just a few hours to sleep today.
Yes,
it's gonna be
after this,
interesting.
Yes, because after this we have the Wamen recording live stream, our first live stream.
At least not for another few hours, thank God.
Yes.
I totally have everything ready for that live stream. I'm not like currently working on the thumbnail as we speak. No, not at all. It's looking good, by the way.
No, we'll get there. We can do it. I'm looking forward to it. Matt Pitt and I are currently fighting on the Now Recording server about who will have the better stream. And Matt Pitt, if you ever watch this, I have Chris the Nut coming and several other guests coming.
Well, frankly, I'm Team Wamen Recording. I think you guys are going to pass now Recording in due time. It's only a matter of time, frankly. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it because we're all women or just because we're entertaining?
No, it's because I love to annoy Matt Pitt. So that works. My favorite thing, I don't know how public this is. I've said it multiple times publicly, but my favorite thing in the world is to send Matt DMs that define new and beautiful ways to annoy Matt Pitt. I'll send him audio messages. I'll send him like a 5-minute like voice recording of me talking about my day and how I got mad at the Domino's pizza guy for doing, his job poorly. Like I'll just find new and interesting ways to make Matt Pitt's day a little harder. And I love it. Yeah.
I love it.
I just hope he doesn't kick me off because I am a helper as well in recording. So I feel like shit. I'm sitting
I
in the
don't
bathtub
think there's
right now.
actually going to be a war between now recording and Wamen recording. If
Nah,
there is,
no.
then Core is a
It's
double
all
agent.
Yes,
Well-
Core's a double agent, and we'll kick him out of this server.
If you
No, but I
need, if you
like
need
Core.
allies, we're team Wamen recording. Because frankly,
Yeah.
the Now Recording podcast has had ample opportunity to have Banana Grabber and Riveter on their show, and they haven't. So, we're team
Oh.
Wamen recording all the way.
I thought they did an interview with Riveter. Did they not?
No, I was part of the. Matt came to me and asked me to. I guess they were doing whatever it was, that contest where they were
competition?
yeah, that Matt never left for. They were supposed to, and so they had some people, I guess, that didn't show up or whatever. And he came to me like right before it was supposed to start or whatever. And I was actually still doing, Dave's stream was still going, and he's in my DMs. He's like, man, as soon as Dave's thing's over, can you come over? Some of the people aren't showing up tonight, and we really need some more people. And I'm like, for what? He's like, oh, why don't you come over to do this thing? I was like, Matt, do you understand? I don't have time for this. He goes, oh, you won't win. I'll make sure you don't win. We just need you for the night.
Oh.
And I was
Oh.
like, okay, that's fine, right? That's cool. I'm glad to help a guy out, right? And I get in there and I'm going up against the new Beavers dude, whatever his name, the guy that wound up leaving
Beaver
the internet
Man.
for.
Beaver
Yeah,
Man.
I left the internet. Yeah, because he called the Denny's that night that Sabo was at, whatever.
Even Maya.
Yeah, and he got ran off the internet for what reason? We don't know because no one called him out about it.
I don't know why Beaverman felt so guilty about it. It was like the
I don't
funniest
know
shit in the
either.
world.
Yeah, I don't
You know what?
whatever.
Finish your story, Riveter, and I'll tell you all
Yeah.
about it. I know the whole
And
story.
then they had who was it? Some other person I never even heard of before. And all he did was talk me up at how good I was and all this other. I'm like, okay. And then Brick. And I was like, so I'm up against this all-star lineup, and I'm like, and I have to throw this? Are you serious? I was like, just, do you know how this is going to make me look so inept and just like on the short bus? But I did it for Matt because, what are friends for, right? So
Exactly.
anyway, but yeah. Okay. So go on. Story about Beaver Man.
So
Yes.
I was watching the live stream with some friends, and all of a sudden I hear, this is Beaverman 03. I am very good friends with Beaverman 03, and I flipped it. I was like, oh my goodness, what has the idiot done now? Then the Now Recording stream happened, and we're trying to get him on, and I start panicking because he's not answering any of my DMs. I can see he's reading them, and I know he's reading them, and I'm just like, okay, what's he done? And I remember I was getting really worried because there had been an incident in the past. So I did get very extremely worried for him, and I was like, oh my goodness, he's taking this to a whole new level. He's freaked out. He thinks we're all mad at him now. And then one day, I forget who told me, but someone told me, oh, he's in this server, by the way, right now. And this has been like a month later. And I was like, put me in that server right now. So I go in and I basically yell at him, you idiot, where have you been? And he's like, oh, I'm fine. I've just been hanging out. And I was like, what do you mean? And so I get him in a private call. And he's like, oh, I did it as a prank. And I was like, you disappeared
Excuse?
for a month as a prank? And he goes, yeah. I was like, that's not a prank. You worried a lot of people. People thought you'd done something to yourself, you idiot. And he was like, oh, really? I was like, yes. Like, you didn't tell anyone. Like, Rum, he's very, very, very good friends with Rum.
That's true.
Didn't even tell Rum. Didn't tell anyone. And apparently his excuse was that he left for a month just to have a holiday. And I was like, you could have just said, hey guys, I'm going away for a month, bye. And then you still would have gotten your month away. And then you could have just played up, come on, now recording, gave a bit of drama, instead of ghost messaging Matt, because apparently he'd like send Matt messages and then delete them before Matt could even read them. So he'd just get all these ghost notifications from Beaver Man.
Yeah, that sounds very weird. I'm sorry to say it.
Yes.
Very sus.
So I basically grabbed Beaver Man by the ear and gave him the big sister talk that he was an idiot. And if he did that again without telling at least people who care for him that he's not done anything stupid, that I would personally go to whatever state he is and kick him up the butt. So
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to push the BS button on that. I think the boy freaked out and ran and hid. That's what I think.
Yeah, I would agree with Riveter there too. Sorry, but even I can smell bullshit here.
Yeah,
Yikes.
and here's the thing
Man
about
can
it.
literally do no wrong. He can't.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong. I mean, it was a little bit weird calling the the business or whatever and saying this is Beaverman 03. That's weird, but no, it was no. I mean, it's not like he was causing any problems or whatever. I mean, don't do it. Don't call someplace if they're IRL streaming. Don't do that. That's not cool or nothing. But
I do it every time. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. No, what happened to let boys be boys? What happened to leave it to Beaver shit? Like, is it okay?
It's okay to be for guys to be, but here's the thing too. I think that excuse, boys will be boys. I'm sorry, it was used, especially when I was a kid growing up, right, to justify some really crappy behavior of guys. It really was.
Still is till today.
But I'll also say this too. I think here's the problem, right? So we as a society, we swing from one extremity to the other, right? So we go from this society where, men have the final authority and they're the ruler of the homes, and the wives are these little meek, mild creatures that stay at home and do dishes and raise the kids and keep the house clean and feed the man and sex him when he's wanting sex, things like that, right? To where we swing completely to the other spectrum of it, to now where, women feel like, because of what happened in the, up and through probably about the 50s or so, they feel like we have to go the other extremity now to where they have to be the ones totally in charge, and they demasculize men, and men are not supposed to feel like they can be men anymore, right? We need to have a central. We need to be in the central. We need to quit swinging one extremity to the other, right? Men need to be allowed to be men, but that doesn't mean they need to be out here and be just asses, but they need to be respectful. But I don't know. I just don't like this. Oh, boys will be boys. I don't like that, because
I like it because it gives me an excuse to do whatever I want. So
I know that, Banana, but that's why you are who you are, and I'm trying to get you, though, to become a outstanding young man that I know you can be.
Good luck.
Nope, I fully agree with Riveter. As someone who's a very traditional person, I full on agree with Riveter.
Yeah. But now listen, that's not to say, right? If in my own situation, if it would have presented itself to where my wife could have been the primary breadwinner, and and it was more beneficial for me to stay home and raise our kids, 100% I would have done that, and I would have kept the house and cooked and cleaned and all that. I don't believe in this traditional, well, that's women's work and this is men's work. I don't believe in that, right? I believe that women can go and achieve and be whatever they want to be, and men can do the same thing. But what I don't subscribe to is that men have to be this, like, I don't like it when there's just, I don't know, this extremism. That's what I don't like, right? Like there's like this real extremism where they say it's okay, like how we got in this thing where women got this attitude of men or women are not treated equal to men, right?
Mm.
Okay. So let me ask you
Mhm.
guys a question. Do you, because we're on a women's podcast, and I think you guys would have a valid opinion on this. Do you believe that today in 2023, do you believe that women are still do not have the same opportunities as men?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
it's a very different compared to 20 years ago, basically, what I say. Because if you think about it, I'm born, in the 80s, basically.
Mhm.
So I'm grown up with that too as well. But I could have seen already, because Sweden is very different compared to USA and so too. But the thing is here, we started very early here that in the 90s, the economic was very good, all kind of stuff like that. But we went so far, much more further, because we got more contacts with other countries, all kind of stuff like that. So it became more opportunity that even men and women, we are very equal here. So most people think it's very weird that we even have men who can stay at home, take care of their children and thing. We have always the rule 40 hours per week, that's the highest you can get, to work. So you can still have your weekends to relax and everything and go back to work. But before that, my mother told me it started to lose a little bit in the 70s and 80s, because she was always raised up like, I have to take care of everything, blah, 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 blah. But I just couldn't. She couldn't easily either, because she'd been married many times too. I think that 2 times at least. So she told me that when she got married with my father, it was a very different scene. Basically, she saw something different. And from there, she started to learn, at least, you guys shouldn't be taking responsible. At least you, my daughter, shouldn't take the responsible, take care of other shit from a man or a woman. Doesn't matter. And I will give you as well a pass too. If they are threatening you or anything, just remember, you have the second. If they hit you first, you have the second hit.
I have a
Basically,
purple
self-defense.
answer before I answer that question.
Yes, you can answer it. Yeah.
I think that, I mean, I think there are a lot more opportunities now than there were years ago. I hopefully, I hopefully there's more in the future, Hopefully we just keep on and the pendulum, like he was saying, kind of hits in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead. I'm curious.
so I just want to preface this because I know you two don't really necessarily know me, but I work in a male-dominated industry.
Oh,
So I have a bit of a different perspective here. I
Okay.
also live on a military base, which is also very, again, male-dominated.
Mhm.
So, I do see like the inequalities. I do agree that like it's nowhere near as bad as like 20 years ago. Well, not even 20 years ago. I keep thinking like 20 years ago was like the 80s.
mm,
Let me try that again.
Listen.
I'm almost 30, so like I've seen it firsthand. I've had it happen to me. There's been times where, like, for instance, my graduating class, I was one of 5 females, and if I wanted to get heard, I had to be loud. I had to be like very aggressive. And a lot of the people would be like, "Oh, well, Empress is being very aggressive. I don't necessarily want to work with her." When realistically, I just want to get like my ideas out there too, because I feel like I have some pretty decent ideas. But like I do see like the inequality. I don't think it's like as bad to the point where it's like all of a sudden women need to like all the women need to be in charge. But I do think like a little bit more women would be nice. Doesn't have to be all women, because I feel like then
Mm.
that just caused too much chaos.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
also don't like the whole idea too of like just because like I'm female, I need to like stay at home, or even like with like the traditional gender roles. Like if I do end up getting a husband, I don't want to be like, oh well, like I get to go home or I get to go work, you get to stay at home. I'd rather like have like a compromise or something, or how like an actual relationship works, where like we get together and go, okay, I don't like doing this. Can you do this? And then I'll do that. I'm sorry, I rambled.
No,
you're
it's okay,
right.
because you brought it up something very interesting, because there was an article a few years ago about there was someone who basically said, well, women can do the same work like a man, and it came up with a gold mine, or basically a mine work. And to be honest, there are a few women who's working in that field, but they are not allowed to get into the mines. And it sounds so crazy. It is because they are afraid that, yeah, you can get radiation. So too, I think it was even in the 70s, there was in USA about a certain generator or something, if I remember it correct right now, because there was some women who basically couldn't work after it. They got cancer or radiation or whatever. So most people are saying that, well, women shouldn't be working in that field. But I think I will always say that it's your choice what you want to do or not. But
I think
I think it is.
So
oh,
here's a question I would pose to you guys, because I, as the old man, right? I've seen a lot, right? I saw a period of time where, like for example, like with my mom and dad, right? They were these were the boomer generation, right? And they had that mindset, the traditional mindset. The man went out and worked, the woman stayed at home, right? Took care of the kids, took care of the house, the whole thing, right? But then there was a shift, because it got to where, just to be able to have for families to be able to survive, then both parents most times than not had to work, right?
Mm.
And then there was this big shift, and I'm going to say probably it started around, I'm gonna say in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, there was this real big movement of what they call the feminist movement, right?
Mhm.
And these women were out here fighting for equalities, right? And of course, a lot of men, and there's still some men out there, even in my generation and older, that don't see that there were restrictions or limitations putting on what women could achieve, like in the workplace, right? And especially like in business and corporate America, right? There was that quote glass ceiling that existed for women inside of and the industry that I'm in, which is IT, was always heavily male dominated, right? I think I was probably had been doing IT work, I'm going to say ballparkish, because I've been doing it now for over 30 years. I'd probably been doing it for at least at least for 20 years or so before I actually met a woman who was doing IT work, right? And I was very glad to see that there was a woman doing IT work, because I was like, this was an industry that I felt would be very beneficial to have more women doing it, right? Because women, I've always felt women are the more intelligent of the sexes, right?
are you just saying that because you're on an all-women podcast?
Trying to butter them up, Riveter. Trying to butter them up.
No, not at all.
No, but like,
okay,
quote
all
to
right,
quote
so
honestly, to quote a Jordan Peterson
Yeah.
meme, like it's true. Like in the most egalitarian societies, if you look at the distribution from male to female to job market or job sectors, like the disparity is still the same. Like men will pick tech jobs and things that have to do
Yeah.
with like engineering and objects, and women will pick jobs that have to do with care and interpersonal, skills.
Yes.
Like it's a matter of choice when it's like personal choice on an individual level. And it's so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the reason that you see the skewing out of opinions is because honestly, it's gonna sound like a meme, but people are retarded. Like they can't hold more than one or two concepts in their head. And so they immediately shift to an extreme position and go, no, it's either all women are ungrateful and feminists are evil, or it's no, all men are pigs and they can't, they're barring the door against women in the workplace. It's like, no, life's a lot more complicated. Unfortunately, it would be nice if everything was easy and you could paint a narrative and be like, yeah, that's my worldview. I don't have to do any other work than that. Just I subscribe to this party or this belief. But no, it's life is a lot harder to deal with than just black and white.
The only thing that I kind of have a problem with, right? And this is, I think, is a legitimate concern. Now, Shanry brought up earlier how women are going more into physical labor type jobs, right? Whereas in the past, they didn't do that type of stuff, right? And they're getting into, women are doing construction and they're doing heavy operators and stuff where they're driving, semi trucks and big machinery and things like that, right? And that's fine. They are very more than capable of doing it. But here's the problem that I see, and I've saw this firsthand, and this is where my concerns lie. So we have certain jobs that we have in society. And this doesn't matter what part of the world you live in. If you have, if they're advanced enough to have, like for example, fire and rescue, EMTs, things of that nature, right? When people go to apply for these jobs, right? If a man goes and applies for these jobs, right? So they have to take several tests. One of them is on paper. Okay. So the paper tests are equal, right? There's no difference. Either you're smart enough to pass the test or you're not smart enough. So that is the equal playing field. And so there's no problems there, right? But where it gets difference is this. So when it gets to the physical part of things, right, because they have physical attributes of this job that they have to test on as well, like they have to carry so much weight up so many flights of stairs, or they have to drag a body, or what they call a dummy or whatever, right? They have to be able to drag it or carry it so far. Well, here's the problem. With women, they reduce the amount of weight that they have to carry and the distance that they have to carry the bodies. So here's my problem. I'm a big guy. If something happens, right, and I'm needing to be carried out of my house, if a woman comes in to try to carry my big fat ass out of this house and she can't do it, I don't want to wind up like a burnt Stay Puft Marshmallow dude. I want out of the house, right?
Yeah.
So, so the problem is while I am all for equality, and I think women should be given an opportunity to achieve whatever accolades they can in whatever position they choose to pursue, but we cannot lower the standards because they're a woman. We can't say, okay, they're a woman, so we're going to lower how much weight they have to carry or the physical to pass these tests to become part of these crews. That's a huge problem for me, right? Because either we treat them equally, right? And we say, yes, women are, and here's the sad fact of the matter is while there are a few women out there who 100% are a lot stronger and tougher and probably more able to kick my butt than but those are unicorns. Okay. Those are not the norms. And so there are certain jobs, that I just don't think women, as far as, being an EMT, whatever, again, they have to be able to lift sometimes, really big, heavy people. They need to be able to lift them, get them onto gurneys or whatever to get them in the back of the ambulances or whatever. And I don't want to come across as being, oh, well, that's Riv and he's an old and he's sexist. No, it's all about simple physics. It's so.
Yeah.
No,
well,
I agree on that.
I have a bit of experience as someone who works I work in the aged care sector. So I kind of have a bit of experience in this. There are actually a lot of tools now that are used to help in those sort of situations. Like the tools I've seen are absolutely amazing to help when there are that sort. I mean, there's the weight thing, like picking up someone to drag them out of a building. Yeah, there's not really much for that. But for if they're on the floor or something, if someone has a fall and the people are not physically strong enough to pick them up, there are so many tools out there now to help in those sort of situations. So, I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Have you had to deal with that a lot, though, Ozzy?
Yeah.
having to pick somebody up
I've-
that you
Yeah,
can't.
I've had people stuck behind doors that I've had to like get ambulance to come and help pick them up from behind the door. And the tools that the ambulance use are amazing just to get behind the door to get the person. And they're in a bathroom, so there's like you can't like the window's tiny, so you can't get in through the window. They've got to like they only have like a crack to work around. Like it's amazing the tools that can be used to get people up. Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of tools out there.
There is.
Hmm.
And I've been working in supermarket, which mean everyone think, oh, cashier and nothing. No. I work with a lot with basically in the background, which mean it's a heavy lifting. There are machinery, believe it or not, even go and fix out in the store. Then we have as well the package. You know, here in Sweden, we basically have made it very differently when it comes to post office or so. So you can go and get your post stuff at a local store, basically. So think about Black Friday and Christmas. That is a lot of packages to take care of, and most of them are very heavy. So I got the opportunity to take care of it, and trust me, it was you had to play Tetris on this. You had to have a lot of mind to pick on, and after that, you had to take care of the background, basically take heavy liftings or so, and take in a lot of heavy stuff. And not so many people couldn't do that, so they were always asking me if I could do it. I was like, yeah, sure, because they saw in me like, okay, you're an asset because not only you're healthy, you're losing weight, but you're fucking strong. I don't know where the strength will come from, but we want you. So they always
I love
welcome
the
me
way
back.
you say Tetris, by the way. That was
Yeah, Tetris. Could be
yeah.
worse. Like I always say.
You could be like,
But yeah, but,
hey, we're gonna play some titties. They're like, wait, what?
yeah, wait, what? Yeah, but then we have other, like you said, basically ET and so, you know, with computer and so, it's very easy these days to get those kind of job and workstation. So, but when it comes to heavier stuff, yes, there are tests you need to take. Even the army, for example, back in the days, they didn't took in women at all. So in the 90s, they brought in women because they saw, wait, we maybe need women as well, not just only as nurses. So they start to recruit more women basically to the army too. So you have a choice as a woman, not like any man after 18 or something like that. But they always say if you like to do that, you're always welcome. So there was a documentary speaking of that too, because there was a documentary about one military base here in Sweden that got so much shit, believe it or not, because the guy who was taking care of the military, all the new recruits and so, and this is where he gets sick because he basically made them walk in wet socks and boots, which is they're not allowed to do that in training. If you have wet socks or that, you need to take it off. But he basically forced both the women and men to do that middle of the fucking winter. You're not allowed to do that. So then he even came up with sexual construct and everything, you know, basically saying you deserve to be in the kitchen, more likely said to the women, most of them, sexuality and so too. So he was called out by the news, basically the Swedish television, basically telling them, you shouldn't be doing this. This is old stuff. You shouldn't be having these thoughts. This is back in the 90s or 50s, like basically. And all his excuse was, I was stressed. And they're like, nah, boy, you're not stressed. Nah. So he basically lost his job because of this.
That's some psychopath behavior right there. Like I know
It is.
like the Canadian Army, they're also psychopaths. The many stories my dad has told me, I'm not gonna tell any of them because like some of them are like actually really fucking bad. It's kind of astounding. Like actually, here's the thing with like the Canadian Army, because talking about like equality and stuff, they've decided that you are now allowed to be, or men can have long hair. They can have any kind of facial hair that they want. They can stretch their ears out, and now they can dye their hair whatever color.
Interesting.
What's your
weird.
opinion on that, Empress K? What do you think?
I don't
about
like it. Okay,
I don't like it either.
like I've lived on 2 different military bases. The first military base I lived on was CFB Edmonton, which is north of Edmonton, which is in Alberta, and stuff. And all around, all you would see are men that are clean shaven, or if they have a beard or something, it's a nice beard. They all looked so nice. And I think the first time a guy with bleached blonde hair, the really bad bleached blonde hair with the orange and stuff,
Okay.
walking in with stretched ears and hair sticking out of the beret and stuff, I'm like, that looks horrible. I know that sounds really bad to say, but I know that the Canadian military is just desperate for people, because they've also lessened the physical requirements to get in and stuff. I'm pretty sure if I was of stable mind, because I'm going to be honest, I do have PTSD from past trauma myself, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't even take me in. But if they I could probably get through basic, and I'm an overweight lady. And I'm not actually, no, I'm starting to get a lot more physical, but I have no upper body strength. There's no way that if I try to go or went in when my dad got in, I wouldn't have made it at all. They would have just laughed at me at the recruiting center and go, bye-bye.
Yeah, wow.
Damn.
Now, it's
True.
funny because I have such a different, I don't know, upbringing than most of the ladies here in this chat. I grew up in a very traditional household. I was homeschooled, so my mum taught us at home. My dad went to work. So and that's what I want to kind of do when I get married at some point. I want to be a stay-at-home mum, homeschool my kids. So it's quite a different outlook. It's very fascinating to me.
I think if anything, this podcast proves that people with different outlooks with life, or how they see themselves in life, can get together, because usually people are if somebody's a traditionalist and they're with a modernist, they're not going to get along. But
No.
Well,
look
it's
it up.
stagecoach rules, right? In normal people, when they have conversations or they break bread, you keep the things like politics and all religion and all that shit out of the conversation, because it's impolite. But even if you do go into those conversations, it's obvious that you four here can have them and not be unhinged or completely unglued.
Yes.
We won't be blackbirding anybody about anything.
Oh, stop it. We love Abby. She's made so much good stuff for us. How dare you? How dare you? She does editing. She does editing for me. She's very sweet.
You should say this to her, since I'm friend with her as well. Abby don't take it very serious, but there is the meme. Oh yes, my queen. Let me spit on you. You know the way. I love that meme, by the way. I'm sorry, but I do like it. And I could see her yeah, I'm gonna spit on you. You like it, don't you? It's oh,
all right.
crap.
I'll risk being a little chauvinist for a second. Hold on to your fucking seatbelts, guys. I've noticed that women in the commentary community are very catty, and they have
We
weird
are.
every time I've talked to somebody in the commentary community that's a woman, and they have a problem with somebody, I'm like, well, what happened? Why don't you like this person? They're like, I don't know. They just give me a bad vibe. I'm like, what? But you're going to war with them. You have the claws out. What are you doing? I just don't like them.
But the different there is a bit of a reason for that, though, because women are a more emotionally based people.
Oh yeah, they like to fight, and so too.
Yeah, so I'm a bit well, I'm sorry, but that's how women are wired. We're more emotional. If something triggers off our emotional senses, says, hey, we don't like something about this person, we will sort of take that to heart. It's yeah, I don't really like that person. There is something about them that I just don't like. I mean, it was and unfortunately for most women, some of the times it's often right to them. It just gets approved sometimes, because then the person will there will be something wrong, and then was ha ha, see, I was right. There was something wrong about this person. And so yeah, I feel that is sort of a woman thing.
I promise you, with or at least with myself and Abby, I don't hate Abby or anything. It's just the whole trying to like play. I don't even necessarily think it's like playing the field, but the whole like trying to dangle the carrot in front of us, going like, "Well, yeah, I can go on the podcast with you guys with Hannah if you do this, 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 and this." And I think we just kind of like
she's
looked at her and
making
went
money
like, "Nah."
moves. She's being a savvy business lady. That's called being cutthroat. She's trying to take notes from Keemstar and just demand things. It's like me on your podcast. I demanded to be on your podcast. And what's happened?
No, you
Rylan has
didn't.
graciously extended an invitation to Firestarters.
Well, Rylan also just wanted you on the podcast to begin with. He was like, "We need Banana," and I was
know.
like, "Okay."
It's called money mentality. You got to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You understand like Gary Vee and business moves to learn all that stuff.
Unfortunately, I do have daddy issues, so
Uh-oh.
not those kind of daddy issues.
Oh.
Travis,
I'm sorry, that was bad. I'm so sorry.
I mean, what can I say? I'm the only woman here who doesn't have daddy issues. Here's the thing. I don't judge my father either. I know he's a great man in a certain way, but he's not a great man. And now I'm going to throw the shade on him. But we have a saying here in Sweden, basically, at least I'm saying it. He changes his socks very often. When people are asking him, what do you mean by that? It's a fine word to say he's cheating a lot.
Oh.
I legitimately
yeah.
thought maybe he just like changes his personality. I didn't realize that was
Oh,
a
no,
cheating thing.
No. No, but that's the thing. There have been some of my friends asking me, "Well, why are you keeping contact with your father when he did it to your mother?" I was like, first of all,
That's your
between
dad.
them. Yeah, exactly. And I said, this is between them, nothing us kids, because what have we done what they are doing? That's the thing. I even talked with them and said, here's the thing. I still will say my mother is dumb, but I still love her, even if we have a complication in our relationship too. But still, it's like people are people. You are only human once. That's the whole thing you are, because you have one life. You don't have an extra life like Mario Brothers. So just live.
I don't know,
for fuck's
man.
sake.
The amount of stuff I've been through, I feel like a plot armor at this point. I should have been dead a few times.
like, I was, I'm sitting here, right, listening to you guys, and all of a sudden I get a notification from Twitter. Like, tags me in a tweet saying, "I blame Aussie wordsmith for the 2008 recession."
What?
Interesting.
What did I do? I was
Not
8
the
years
Bush
old.
administration. Okay.
I was 8 years
Who
old.
said that?
I wasn't even Slug.
Oh, Slug. Am I
fuck
surprised?
Slug, okay? I don't know what your guys' opinion on Slug is. Banana and Riveter. I don't know. But fuck Slug. Don't actually fuck Slug.
I
but-
don't have one. I do not have an opinion on that person.
I don't.
JFA
yeah, I
actually
don't
really
enjoy
likes
it.
him. JFA actually really likes Slug.
Well,
I
he
mean,
really
look, the
likes
only
us
interaction
too,
I've had with
so-
Slug is like when the first time I met him, I was in VC. He saw that I had earbuds that he liked, and he watched the same show I watched, which is where I got the earbuds from. So, positive, but I
He's
don't know.
stealing your drip. That's not a positive. He's stealing your drip. How could
Yeah, he's
he?
trying. No, listen, sweetheart. Everyone's stealing my shit. All right, it's nothing new. I deal with it at this point. That's.
Did I just get
it's-
sweethearted by Banana?
Oh, I'm Southern
Yeah.
man.
Damn.
Leave, sweetheart. Everyone. There you go.
Wait till he calls you
we're all
honey.
sweethearted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I feel like I'd be in
Yeah.
trouble if he calls me honey.
Or
He might be.
darling.
I
But I
won't
like
say no.
Darlene. Darlene's cute.
Yeah,
I won't
Darling is
say no.
cute. It's like so sweet in so way. Because here's the thing: it's worse to be called what I see here in Sweden, basically a whore. Because there is a saying here we call, sorry, I'm gonna say it, hora, which is a very bad word. It is called whore. And the thing is, this is where Riveter, I think you're gonna be shocked by this, but even 8-year-olds are starting to say that word. And to me, it's like, dude, what the fuck? What's going on? We were not supposed to say that. It's a bad word. And I did ask a kid about it when he said it in front of me. I asked him, sorry if I ask you about where did you learn that word? He just looked at me like, yeah, I learned from school. But what do your mother say about that word? What does my mother have to do with it? She's not a whore. I was like, oh, God.
Dang.
Damn.
Dang.
Damn.
When I was a kid, I got my mouth washed out with soap for saying crap one time. So it's the world has moved on, is all I can say. We are not as a world. In a lot of ways, I think the world has progressed in a lot of ways, but I think that progression has also come at a huge cost to our dignity and a certain, shall I say, kindness or civility towards each other. Because it's like, all right. So, for example, you brought up the word whore, right? Now, that is a very derogatory term to use towards a woman, right? Because you're basically saying she prostitutes herself, for money. And, but you have women who refer to each other, calling each other whores or, this is my bitch, things of that, right? And while I think it is appropriate sometimes to use those words because I've used them towards people. I even called a woman because she made me so mad. I called her the dreaded C word and got a resulted
I'm
24-hour ban
Australian. It's
on
not
Twitter.
dreaded here.
Yeah, and it's not either in the UK, but that's and so I'll say this because, and I'm guilty of it myself. I think we have lost, I think, some of our, dare I say, humanity, and ability to treat people with kindness. And on my show, I do call people out, right? I bust their humps, I bust their balls. If they're doing something stupid or if they've said something stupid, I call them out about it. But the real big thing that I think everybody knows, and it's not a secret, is really and truly I'm a big softy. And while I'm calling them out for the bad behavior, it's because like I don't want them to do this bad behavior anymore. I want them to be a better person. Make your content, do whatever it is that you're doing, but just don't do this. This is not the right way. This is not the path.
And I totally agree with you, River, on that.
Something about like the online world, the barriers to actual physical interaction with another human being, it's like psychopathologizes behavior. Like people become more psychotic with the addition of layers between them and the other person. In Discord specifically, somebody should do a fucking case study on Discord because it makes people so crazy. It makes people so fucking crazy. The amount of normal human beings I've met in the time that I've been hanging out on Discord who have just lost their minds. Like it's bizarre. Like something about Discord and commentary that just like corrupts people at their core. I don't know what it is, but like it's so weird to see in real time as somebody who's now like doing content.
It's funny because I was actually talking to Chris the Narc about this the other day, and I was like, somebody really needs to like take the commentary community and just make it like an actual study, like use it for like a university paper or something. He was like, if I was still in university, I would do that. I was like, it's weird. Because like you do have like a lot of people from different backgrounds. Like you've got like Tommy C and Dead on Dave who are like vets. I don't necessarily think Drew's commentary, maybe, possibly. He hangs around the he's commentary adjacent, but like he's on the other end, like
you talking about Drew sharing?
Drew sharing, yeah.
Yeah, he's not commentary, Drew.
Okay.
He just creates content. Yeah.
A lot of those guys
just hangs out with us.
A lot of those guys that are normie streamers, and that's not a derogative thing. I don't know Drew or his content. I'm not trying to like disparage him, but like a lot of those people that are like in the normal circuit that isn't commentary, got their feet wet in commentary at some point or rubbed elbows with people in commentary. So there's a vast network of other YouTubers who are connected to this space, mainly through Tommy C and Keemstar. It would appear. But yeah, like it's a guilty pleasure of a lot of YouTubers, and they will never say it publicly because they feel like it would soil their reputation. But
Yeah,
Drew's
no,
one of
like,
the cool
well,
ones that likes to come down and hang out, so that's nice.
there
Mm.
is one certain part of the commentary community who has nothing to do with Thomas C or Keemstar, and I will say this: art, Creepshow art, for example, that is a very good thing to look back in if you're gonna do a study, because she was basically from the art community, and there is a smaller community as well, which is the smaller commentary community, where people are backstabbing each other. You can see Just a Robot, his last video, I'm leaving for now. He explained it so well and how mentally ill he felt and everything, and how they are fighting because they're coming from different communities and go into the commentary as well, because commentary is very big in a certain way, but it has a lot of, from art, games, whatever. So, but it's
Like, comment-
scary to see this, to see there are so much people getting into this mentalities itself too, when it comes to, for example, kiwi farms or locals, all kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, it is very scary. There's people with the Advent of Salvo and the Red Bar group that seem to think it's okay to just divulge people's personal information, private information online, because they don't understand what those guys are doing, because those guys are comedians that go up right up to the edge and still ride the edge without going over. But all their little fans, their little sycophants who don't understand the bit, go autistically, dox somebody and think, "Ha ha, I'm funny, right, guys?" And they have a gross misunderstanding of themselves and the environment. No, yeah, it's not cool. I don't like it.
So I have a question for the both of you, as we're talking like about doxing and stuff, because I like over
Sure.
the holidays, I worked at an electronics store, and that particular electronics store in Canada. I'm pretty sure like everybody knows which store it is because there's only one store like this in Canada, or franchise, I guess. That also deals with like selling cell phones and stuff. And the thing is, like, I had to take like this whole ass course about sensitive info and stuff. And I guess the question is, do you guys consider the whole first name last name thing doxing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you may
Okay.
personally,
Without a doubt.
to give my opinion on that real quick, you may personally think it's like gay to care about. Like some people do not care if their first and last name are out there. That's a personal opinion. It becomes a problem when somebody values their anonymity for one reason or another. Maybe it's because their career could be put in jeopardy if people knew what they were up to online. Creatively. So it's a problem. Yeah, I think, in my personal opinion. But also, it's not the end of the world if it's first name, last name. Now, if there's people taking that information and then weaponizing it to go harass the person IRL, yeah, that's a fucking huge problem. But it's like, it's the gateway to that. It's like, I don't know how you would split hairs on that. Yeah, you release somebody's personal information, first name, last name, you pull the mask off of them. Yeah, you're fucking douchebag and you should be blackballed. Like, absolutely. Yeah.
Like the fact that that's an actual debate within the commentary community makes me really sad because
they're
that is
autistic.
like that's the first thing we learn is like first and last names are sensitive information. And like as somebody like I had a stalker for 5 years, and that's basically how like what he did. Like he used like that particular like my first and last name to try to figure out like where I lived, and then he would come like harass me at my own workplace. And it didn't help that I had one stupid coworker that went like, "Oh yeah, Kay works at like this time to this time tomorrow." That didn't help at all. But
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't see how you like people. I think they're just like either autistic or they're dumb. Like they're dumb. Like regardless of the spectrum thing, it's like they're just like a bag of rocks in their head. Like they don't understand how it could be an issue because either they don't consider what's important to other people or they're just ignorant. I don't know. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna bring it up because I have spoken before as well when it comes to internet and so too. First of all, Banana, I'm gonna scare you a little bit because I could be scared of, but I will say this: my name had been out already for 10 years, basically. Some people have seen my picture, so I don't care. But here in Sweden, it's so very, very scary. You have to take care of your ID, handling and everything. But the most scary thing is certain people can go to the tax office and get your name and personality. They don't care. So there are sites here in Sweden that you can see personal information, where they live, wherever, and so too. And it's scary enough.
It's very easy. You could Google if you knew my first name and last name, you could Google it and then immediately see voting records, address, phone number. It's so easy. Like, and that's the other thing that Riveter and I have been talking about because we have talked about this on our show. And Riveter, like, if you want to explain it yourself, sure. But it's an unavoidable thing at some point. It's gonna happen. My dox is out there. Somebody has. I haven't mentioned it, but like somebody has doxed me, and I've seen it, and I'm just hoping that it doesn't get out. But yeah.
Yeah, then I can tell you of a thing. There was someone trying to dox me, but I will say this: they basically said, "Oh, you have no, eggs and everything," because when you get older, us women, we don't have eggs anymore. Scrambled eggs, and so, haha, that's you. But the thing was, I know. But the thing was, they were trying so fucking hard. They found my last name and everything. They even find my Facebook. But they basically found the wrong address. So they thought they even said, "Oh, yes, but we're going to harass you." So I was like, yeah, sure, go on. They
Go
harassed
for
the
it.
wrong person. Basically, they harassed a woman who was married.
Oh boy.
I was like, ah, shit. So
Yeah.
the only thing I could do was calling her up and told her what's going on and everything. So the thing was, she changed her phone number because she told me, yeah, there was some weird people calling me. I was like, what the f is wrong with you? I don't know English. That's the thing. They don't know English. There are some Swedes who refuse to take English class as well. They're like, no, I'm not going to speak English. I speak Swedish here, nothing else.
Yeah, Europeans hate Americans. It's annoying. I know.
They hate Americans, love Canadians.
Yeah.
One of the things that that was so short-sighted, I'll say with the whole, like, for example, the Sabo situation, right? Putting people's names, and him taking a stance that putting someone's first name, last name out there doesn't matter. It's no big deal, right? Here's the danger in that. So let's take, a person's name. Well, there could be multiple people depending upon the name and how common it is. And something else to keep in mind is a lot of times, people, they will live in and around their family members, right? And so, as families do, a lot of times they recycle names, right? Because it's a family name. It has some sort of significance to them, a certain name, like a first name, whatever. Could be a great great grandfather or a great uncle that was well beloved in the family or whatever. So it is a name that is cherished, and they will name them their subsequent family members, whatever, will get named that name. Well, here's the problem. So you have somebody that has an online presence. Their name gets put out there, right? And it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Okay. Well, if you are a creator and you have a fairly large followers and you put that out there and your mindset is, it's no big deal, you don't know what kind of people you have that are watching your content and that are following you. And one of those people could be somebody who has literally zero boundaries. So they could swat the person.
Yeah,
they could
psychos.
show up to their house. They could do whatever, right? Because again, you have told them it's no big deal, right? How many times have we seen people just arbitrarily show up at some content creator's home? Just this week, Keemstar put out a video where this mother took her child up to this creator's house, right? And was just, just being a horse's butt. Well, that's a problem.
It is a big problem.
Yeah. So
and the thing of it is even I'm a very small creator. I'm tiny. I'm insignificant, really, right? I've already got detractors, right? And the thing that the thing of it is that if you go up to the wrong person's home, depending on what part of the country you're in, even if you're not meaning ill will, if you're just there, hey, I want to meet you, talk to you, whatever, right? That could result in a bad scenario happening, right? Because if you just show up at somebody's door and they don't know who you are and you're knocking and whatever, it could end in a bad situation. Now, I'll say this: if I'm out and about, because I do get out and about and stuff, and if I'm traveling or whatever, and if somebody that whatever watches me and they see me and they want to come up and talk to me, I'm approachable. Come talk to me if I'm out in a public place, right? I'm not, I'm pretty cordial. I'll sit down and, probably talk to you and we can have a drink a, cup of coffee or whatever. I'm cool about that, but don't come to my house. Just don't. That's not good. But, okay. For example, look at what happened with, Amaranth, right? Everybody knows the story. Her husband, the one side we got was not very nice to her. He was, very controlling, manipulative, and not a bad, or was not a good guy to her, according to her side of what she was presented. Now, that could be complete and totally the whole story. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that was the story that was put forth now, right? So what happened? Well, the H3H3 podcast and his crew decided, we're going to start digging into this guy. And so they put his stuff out there and it was the wrong person. How many viewers do you think H3H3 had go start harassing this guy? And what was even better is they were his producer, Dan, was telling him, the harassment, stop. We can't, don't do this. And they already said, the guy was already getting harassed and it was the wrong person. So that's what's so dangerous about
better.
Yeah. That's the problem with this mindset of, it should first name, last name, it doesn't matter. It 100% matters. If a person wants to put their first name, last name out there because, they're above board with it, like, Tommy C or Philip DeFranco or, any of these other larger creators that have their names out there and they're okay with it, that's fine. But if a person doesn't want their name out there, don't put it out there. It's not, it's not rocket science. So,
well, Phil DeFranco's name wasn't actually Philip DeFranco before, like he did legally change it to DeFranco.
Yes, I know.
But it was something completely different until he was like he's talked about it publicly, but.
And, the thing about it too is, like I said, again, when a person, comes online, like for example, my mom is still alive, right? Now, my mom loves me, or at least I think she does. And, but here's the thing, and she supports me and what I do, but she tried watching Banana and my podcast back in the day. And she said, I can't watch that. The language is too bad. And I said, well, Mom, I appreciate that. She goes, and so when I started doing my morning shows or whatever, she goes, oh, what? I said, Mom, no, just no. She goes, why? I said, Mom, no, because I said, I'm talking about stuff that you're not going to know who the people are and you're not going to care. And I'm probably going to say curse words every now and then, either I'm trying to clean up my potty mouth. But I said, no, just no. I said, here, just wear the hoodie and we're cool, right? Just let it go with that. She goes, well, okay. So, and
that's so cute though.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
yeah, I met your mom. She's the sweetest lady.
She is. And here's the thing.
Crown.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I don't want someone harassing my 74-year-old, 75-year-old mom. I don't want that, right?
I tell him. Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? I understand. I've got some people out there that, for whatever reason, they've decided that they don't like me, and that's cool. They're entitled to their opinion. But
their opinion's wrong.
Well, no, I mean it's not. I don't necessarily agree with their opinion, but that doesn't mean their opinion's wrong.
Take the compliment.
I will say they are definitely in the minority.
Take it.
They are definitely in the minority.
That bashful Southern, humility that you got. We gotta get rid of that.
No, I just don't like compliments, guys. I really don't. It makes me.
Oh no, I'm the same way. I don't like compliments either. I'm like, I
kind of the same. I kind of the same, but I don't like to get gifts. And that's why people think I'm very weird. But I'm like, no, I just don't like to get gifts. I need to earn them.
That's weird. I love when people give me free shit, man. I'm like, give me everything.
But here's the thing.
Give me all the free stuff.
Yeah, but basically I'm grown up with a workaholic family, basically.
Yeah.
One of them basically been working in, for example, in woodwork. It may be some weird like woodwork. Okay, But he always was so strict. That's my grandfather, by the way. He's long gone. But he always took care of me. He's like, if you're really wishing to get this and this, you have to earn it, basically, or you need to get a job for it. And I mean, it's correct meaning of that too. Basically, he always loved to see me draw too as well. So he said, is this a hobby? I was like, yeah, but I could maybe get a job of it. Well, try that or do something else, but just don't think over too much, because here's the thing. He really wanted me to get a good future too. And of course, when you really need something, you need to earn for it. For example, he asked me one time, what is your biggest dream? I said, yeah, I want to have a little house. That is still my dream to this day. I want a little house. So of course I'm going to earn it and try to get a job and, that's thing. But I wouldn't ask one, give me a free house, give me a free mansion. That is not what you earn. It's like you're asking a stranger to be your whatever, give you that. It's like, no, that is not earned at all. I'm going to say it.
Shanry, that's very admirable and modest of you, but I want free shit. I'm tired of it. No, I'm so tired of busting my ass for 12 hours a day. At this point, just give me free shit. Just let me have it, man. Because
I can give you free gum.
Gum?
I mean, free gum. Yeah, gum.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'd love some free gum. Send me over some like Mentos. You have Mentos Pure Fresh? That's my favorite gum.
Oh yeah, we do have. We do.
Yeah.
So I have a question for the ladies.
Mm.
You asked Banana and I how we got into this crazy space. So let's start at the top and go down. Aussie, I want to know how it is that you got into the commentary community.
So, for my job, I do a lot of driving, and I wanted something to listen to, and so I would listen to YouTubers while I would drive. So I download a video and I would go for a drive, and I basically went through. I started watching Augie because his content was so long, and it would suit like my several-hour drives that I would do. So I found Augie, and I was like, oh look, long content that I can listen to while I'm driving. So I would download a video and I'd listen to it while I was driving, and I got really fascinated with just all the character, just characters, I suppose. And then I got into Nicholas Diorio. I loved his sort of I didn't have to see the screen, so I would look for YouTubers specifically where I didn't have to see the screen while I drove. And Nicholas Diorio was perfect, so I started listening to Nicholas Diorio. I'm a big, massive fan of Nicholas. And then I went, and then I found Tommy C. I didn't actually like Tommy C in the beginning. It took me a minute to like him, and then I really enjoyed his content because that was another one I could just listen to while driving, and it was something new to listen to every other day. And then I was actually really shy. I didn't talk to anyone for a really long time, and finally I got the guts up to sit down and talk with people in the Discord and talk in chats and things like that. And yeah, and then I met all these lovely people here, and I started my own podcast because I thought it would be fun.
Awesome.
And
Well,
yes.
for me, example, I can start it. I would say we had an episode we were talking about this, but there is a little more I forgot to tell. So I have been on the internet for over 10 years, basically an artist. I have my portfolio out and so too. But I didn't tell any one of you here. I have done YouTube as well, but my name, Shenri, the real Shenri, is banned from YouTube. It's belonging to a company right now because back in the days I did music videos, which is back in 2005 and so. And it maybe sounds so weird, but it was the start. They were trying to make sure that you cannot copyright or basically pirate animation. Even animation music videos were the same too as well. There are some few who can get that too. So my name was taken away, but I came back again. So now my YouTube is Shenri's Corner, but I haven't been there too much. I've been a little bit lazy. But if we're gonna come to commentary, I first went to Thomas E, hang around there, Dead on Dave and so too. Then I was even hanging around with people like Sam, for example. and I got friends with Sega Melon, so we are friends, by the way. So we basically moved away from it. I told him, sorry, but you're not entertaining anymore. I hope you can grow later on in the future. That's fine. So after that, I have been around another communities, Arc Survival Evolved, so I've been around there too, hanging around with YouTubers there and talk with them, and came back to commentary again, once again. Now I am with Now Recording, doing thumbnails and even I'm basically their little sheep right now, taking care of everyone who doesn't do anything weird shit there. So I'm the guard sheep, basically. And now I'm here with everyone here and doing thumbnails and on a podcast together with lovely ladies.
Yes.
So this may come as a huge shock. Okay, I've been on the internet since like the 90s. My brother's dad, he was always like a techie guy. So like the moment that like the internet came out and stuff, we got like, I don't even think we ever had broadband. I think it was always just like DSL or something. But like I've been on like online since like Web 1, basically. And finding the commentary community, it started back in 2016. Now, like I said, I'm Albertan, and Alberta's very right winged. Not like actually, no, they're kind of just as right winged as like some of the states in the states. But I ended up started watching like Andy Worski and that crowd, and
Oh
then
wow.
yeah, I know, right? And then I ended up going off to university. And I stopped watching them, but I started watching people like Tommy C, Edwin, Repzilla, like when Repzilla first started. And then at some point I stopped being a lurker. I started talking a little bit more in like Edwin's community, and then I was like, I need to branch out and find other communities to be part of. And so I went to like Tipster's community, talked there a little bit, got along with basically everybody that was in there. And then one day I was talking about League with Moogle in like the main VC, or like not the main VC, but like the main general chat of Tipster's old server. And Tipster pings me, goes like, hey Empress, do you want to play League with us one day? And I was like, yeah, let's go. It took me like 5 minutes to get into that call because I am incredibly shy. And by the time like we did a whole stream with that, and he came, like he messaged me on Twitter, he was like, you're actually really fucking cool. And I was like, thank you, I don't get that enough. And then
I'm incredibly shy too. No, I feel you. Like I am the worst when it comes to feeling horrible shyness and anxiety.
I'm pretty sure people like listen to like my streams, because I do stream, not as well, I'm starting to get back into it. But like my own streams, my own content and stuff. Like when people hear that, they're like, you're not that shy, blah blah blah. I'm like, you have no idea. It takes me a long I had to ask Core for help with like setting up tonight's live stream, and Ozzy ended up messaging him for me, because I was like, okay, I need to like work up the courage to like actually talk to Core one-on-one to like get this done. And then of course Core does the whole, you can always just talk to me. It is like, I know everybody tells me that, but like I still even have issues messaging Tipster, and I've known Tipster for at least a year.
I'm the exact same way, Empress, and it gets better with the more you do it. Just the more you practice, like being out there, putting yourself out there, and like, you know, engaging, it gets better. It gets a lot better.
It does.
The social anxiety part goes away.
Well,
yeah, thank
we
you.
we might wrap it up here. Oh, you know,
Paula needs to answer it.
Yeah. So let's see. Years ago, I've always been a lover of Halloween. And so that got me into watching Halloween makeup tutorials. And I'm also really into beauty and fashion and all that. So, and watching the beauty stuff, I started learning more about where the beauty products were coming from. That led me into the tea community. And then from the tea community, you know, everyone, you know, there was Dramageddon, and I mean, there really hadn't been that much going on. And a lot of people have like I said before, Edwin and Paige have just kind of migrated over some into commentary, and they just kind of led me on over, and that's how I ended up here.
And we're very happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to
I
be
know
here.
I am.
I'm lucky to have you, Peepaw. I really am.
We've been going for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we've been going. It says we've been going for 2 hours now, so we might wrap it up because we've got to prepare for our live stream later on today.
Okay.
Yeah, I need my beauty sleep.
Yes.
Finally got the thumbnail colored. Do you guys want
Let me just say this
Yay.
in closing. I'll just say this. Thank you, ladies, for having us on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Empress, if you're ever needing any help, with anything to do with the streaming, since you're kind of going to be the tech person or whatever, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you set up anything or discuss or whatever you need.
Because you use Stream Elements too, don't you?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a blast. Absolutely.
I know how to use like Stream Elements and stuff. It was just like something with like sound and stuff. And I was like, how do I do this, Court? And he's like, okay, so this is what I do. I was like, that is not what I wanted to do, but I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I like the setup that you guys have here between the four of you. Like, you have good chemistry, and the conversation was natural, and like we didn't have to talk about a bunch of like commentary stuff. Like, we had a real discussion.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, that's what we want.
And this is why we're going to take over now recording.
Yeah,
that's
the
spirit.
one thing.
Absolutely.
We are 4 different women for 4 different backgrounds. But here's the thing. Don't worry, there will be no cat fight between us because someone is going to get down in the body. Everyone gets down. Sorry, I'm saying it.
I'm going to cat wrangler.
Yeah,
Matt
exactly.
Pitt's the retard wrangler. You need a cat wrangler, just in case there's any cat behavior in your future.
I think the problem with us is just like, we all know how mean each other can be, so we're not going to be beat, except for Ozzy.
Yeah.
It is we protect Ozzy at all costs, but we all know how mean each other can be.
Yeah, if you just leave your feelings at the door and and understand it's about the show, not you guys, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna wrap her up. Before that, I'm gonna say this. Ozzy was nervous today. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna live stream too." I said to her, "Remember what Banana said? Look into the wall or something else. Just take a breather and fart out. There you have it."
Exactly.
Oh my God, Ozzy! When I first started live streaming, I had like actual panic attacks. Yeah, and the only thing that if you just keep doing it, like it's gonna like, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give it to you straight. It's gonna fucking suck the first time, but you just gotta keep going, and then eventually. And I'm still bad at it, but you'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah. Thank you. No, I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you and Riveter will like show up in the chat or even come in and
100%. At me at Twitter every time. Otherwise, I'll forget because I'm autistic and ADHD.
No, I'll at you. I'll at you. Don't worry.
And I'll be there 100%. I will.
Thank you.
If I'm awake,
okay, everyone.
I will. How's that?
We're like that.
Oh, true. Yeah, I might be asleep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry, Riveter. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying thank you. So.
Oh, thank you. No, we thank you for coming, and make sure you like, subscribe. We'll have Banana and Riveter's social medias in the description below. And thank you.
Thank you.
And remember, guys, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you in the funny papers.